Testing. I guess many of you know today we have quiz. I guess I think we should. I don't know whether we should quiz now or. Okay. Then maybe then we can have it now. Okay, we do it earlier. That's fine. So. So do not turn it over until everyone got it. As you can write your name and your student ID on the first page. As you will see, there are 10 questions, and you are given 15 minutes to do it. Okay, 15 minutes to do it. Do not start working because of everyone is still doing the thing. Maybe let me pause the recording for the moment, and after that I resume. I hope you're okay. I guess many of you have already done halfway. I mean, already after 6 minutes, many of you have already stopped working. Some of you still working, so but I hope this quiz will help you to see whether you understand the material, some idea, okay? And as you might expect, this actually gives you some of the idea what kind of exam you will be looking at, okay? And I guess I'll talk to TA whether he will cover in his tutorial or I can go over the question. I'll let you know after the talk to TA. Maybe after his grading, and he let you know if you have the grading, then let you know whether discuss in his tutorial we discuss in the class. But don't worry, just very small part of your assessment anyway, okay? So, what, I guess you guys still excited. So I make the first part of our first hour very easy. So I just try to cover something not too difficult. So we want to talk about contract theory. So the idea of contract theory is, as I said in the last class, it's a fundamental complement to market, okay? And we say market is where clear buy and sell, where clear of right? We want to buy a house, it's very clear the price and very well-defined property right and so forth, right? We're using money is determine who get what, right? And it's a freedom of exchange, right? But we talk about firm, right? As a producer, we don't talk about the inside working of the firm. So contract theory is open up this black box where market doesn't work, right? When you work, right, many of you is working for a firm, right? Are not the owner, right? And usually we have to listen to our boss, right? If our boss say X, then we usually have to do X, right? As long as it's legal, ethical, right? We do X, right? And the boss is not saying that you do X, you get this much, right? So this is basically is not using the market. right? So it's using order, right? And that is what the contract fee is about, okay? It's basically is among small number of people, there's no market, and usually when the contract fee is about information asymmetry, okay? It's more like your boss, right, might tell you to do X, okay? But X can be very difficult, okay? Maybe you just do Y instead of X, right? So that is also possible, right? It's not necessarily you follow exactly what the boss tell you, right? The boss may tell you, you do every hour, every second, okay? You cannot use your phone to check news, no, okay? You pay 100% attention, right? It need not be the case, okay? So to start this, mainly is you talk about information asymmetry, and it's usually the idea we start with something we call lemon, or the lemon market. And if time, we talk about, after the break, we talk about signaling, adverse selection, and moral hazard. And they are closely related to how financial contract is being designed. And it's closely related to the idea of when some of you will take the corporate finance in the next semester, also next trimester, or other elective class. Basically, the modern idea of corporate finance is about contract theory, right? The optimal design for a company, whether you use debt, use equity, is the contract theory. Whether you decide the preferred stock, right? How you structure your debt, how you structure your equity, all those kind of things is the idea of corporate finance, okay? Or contract theory. So let's start the case with market first, and we see how information asymmetry affect the market. And the classical in economics, some of you may have learned, is called the lemon market, okay? And what it essentially said is asymmetry information actually affect the market a lot. And for example, the very common example is called the lemon market. I think it's an American slang. Lemon means the second-hand car which turned out to be a bad car. And they call peach is the car where it's good, okay? So it's a lemon versus peach, but no one ever mentioned peach anyway, but everyone is no lemon market, okay? It's a lemon car, okay? Why we have a lemon problems in the car market, okay? Because car, right, is a very complex object, right? And you know that only the seller who owned the car previously know actually it's good or bad, right? Whether the car has some hidden problem or not, you don't know, right? As a buyer, right? So you don't want to pay for lemon, right? You are willing to pay for peach, but not for lemon, okay? And we're trying to show you that how this information asymmetry affect the market, right? So that's a problem. And you can see this information has a lot of issues like this here. Like IPO, right? The firm, the owner, know actually how good the firm is before they sold to the public, right? Or when a firm try to borrow money from bank, it's also the same, right? Only the firm know how profitable the firm is, right? Even though the owner can show him all the financial statement, even though all the financial statement are true, but only the owner may actually know how the future of the firm could be, right? So that is, the owner has superior information compared to the bank, right? So that is all the issue here. Is when two parties transact, one party has much more information that's crucial for this transaction to happen, and this will change a lot. And there are a lot of applications on this, and we'll talk about how to remedy those. And contract theory is the way to remedy those problems. But let's see this classical example. Is you consider two types of car, okay? And to make our life easy, in the market, there's equal number of peach and lemon. So good car and bad car equal the same, okay? And we make our assumption to make this number or not. You can change the number, whatever. There's no specific about this number, but just to make our life easier, okay? So for the seller who owned the car, okay, he thinks good car valued $90 to them, okay? And that means that if you ask him to sell the car less than $90, he don't, right? He keep it, he value the car at 90, okay? And for the buyer, he's willing to pay for a peach for $100, right? More than 100 you don't want to pay, okay? And that means any price between 90 to 100, they can trade, right? And for the bad car, okay, because it's a bad car, right? So for the seller, the value is very low, it's 20, so it's 10, okay? And still it's the bad car, but the buyer still want to buy as long as no more than 20, okay? So that is a setup, okay? Now you can see, right, buyer still want to buy if the condition of the car is known, right? So trade is efficient in this, okay? It is efficient to transfer car from seller to buyer, okay, in this framework, because every buyer willing to pay more than the seller want to keep, okay? As long as information is perfect, this is fine, okay? We know the financial market is not like this, right? But let's see how this being solved, right? But you can imagine this is also a stock market or a house, right? Maybe the good car means the house is good condition, right? The bad car is the house maybe someone have died before, or there's some breaking or some leakage of the rain or whatever, the same idea, okay? Now the question we're trying to argue is information asymmetry is a problem. It's not about we don't know, okay? We'll argue that point, okay? First, to make our life easier, okay, we will consider the following case, which closely related or resemble what we see in the world is, okay, supply of car is limited, but demand of car is infinite, okay? Means that there are more people want to buy than people want to sell, okay? The reason to do it is because in that case, who determines the market is the seller side, right? That means that the seller can sell at the price where people need to pay, okay? If you reverse it, it's the same. It's just saying that the car will be sold at the seller's reservation price, okay? The result may be different, but this is more closely related to the real world, right? Just look at the housing market, right? I think we have more buyer than seller in general. Of course, now may be different, but in general case, right, is we have more buyer than number of houses available, right? It may not be the case for mainland right now, but who knows? But anyway, this is the setup, okay? Now consider the case very simple, okay? If everyone knows which car is peach, which car is lemon, without cost, for example, in the ideal world, or it's easy to send a car to somewhere else and check, and someone can tell you it's a lemon or peach, for example, okay? Or the car is still under warranty, so you don't need to worry, okay? For example, in this case. And because of more buyer than seller, good cars are at 100, bad cars are at 20, right? Fully segregate, right? Good car is at a good price, bad car still said, that's no problem, market efficient. Okay? And in other case where no one knows the car, whether the lemon is peach, even though I drive it, I don't know. Okay? No one knows, no one has superior information. What happened in that case is the car will sell at single price because no one knows it, right? Even your seller doesn't know it. So what should be the price? Okay? The price was sold at average quality or average risk to pay, right? Buyer want to pay 100 if the good, bad is 20, okay? They're equally likely, right? Assume people are risk neutral, right? They paid expected value, right? So half the time it value $100, half the time you value 60 to $20. So midway is 60, right? 60 is the price. So that's no problem, okay? Because no one knows it, every car being sold, no problem, okay? As long as no one has more information than others, there's no problem, right? Whether you know it or you don't know, it's not a problem, okay? That actually correspond to things in old days, right? Look at the marriage, right? In the old days, it's blind marriage, right? You get married, you don't know whether who is going to marry you until at the very moment you get married, or even after, right? Because the lady would have the red clothes, all close up. You don't even know who you're married and whether man or woman. We don't know. You know, right? But anyway, you get married for some reason, and that's no problem. It's still efficient, right? But the problem now, you see a lot of people, the marriage market is not clear, right? There are a lot of remaining men and women. Why? Right? One of the reason, as we will see, will be asymmetric information, right? Only people know whether you are a good guy or a good girl, right? Whether you have money or no money, right? Whether you have good character or not, right? That's an issue, okay? So in this case, right, in this model, we only have single price, okay? The question would be, why there cannot be two prices, right? If, say, you may, oh, can it be the case where good cars sell at high price, bad cars sell at low price? It's not possible, because the bad car would pretend to be a good car, right? So in this model, you only expect only single price in this market, right? Because by selling at the price lower than the current in the market, you actually reveal that you're a bad car, right? So actually the same, right? I mean, you look at the bribery price, right? Look at the price that you pay in some village in China, right? When you try to get married, right? You have to pay for something, right? The price is fixed regardless of what, right? So there's no two price, right? And say, look at this. We try to see what is the equilibrium price there. Say, suppose the price is more than 90. What happened? Okay? Of course, the owners of good car want to sell, no problem, right? 90 is the price he think the car is well, okay? But the problem is bad car is also sold there, right? Because bad car want to pretend to be good car, right? But if they're bad car and good car, people would not pay more than 60, right? So no one would pay for 90, right? No equilibrium. So price cannot be more than 90, okay? And if price below 90, what happened? Is only bad car exists, right? And the price can only be less than $20, right? And in this model, it's actually $20, right? Only sold at $20, and only bad car there, right? Only the good car gone, bad car only trade at 20. Okay? So you can see information asymmetry is very severe here, right? And that explains why for some country, stock market is not very efficient, right? Because people would think that information asymmetry there, right? And if you're a firm that have a good business, you don't want to list there, right? Because list there, you undervalue. You want to keep the company, right? Don't want to do it, okay? And only the bad company would be listed, right? So that's why you see in many developing countries, right? The stock market is not well developed, okay? Many of them actually go to place where the market is more symmetric, right? They go to UK, they go to US, go to, say, in the old days, right, Hong Kong or Singapore, right? And in those times, because you think that the information asymmetry is less, right? But that explains why, right? And in particular, explain why a lot of the GEM in the world, right, doesn't work. There's no trade, right? Because of this. Because all lemon, right? You don't know whether it's good or bad. Then the firm don't want to be there. In some sense, that explains why many mainland China firm, right, want to come to list in Hong Kong in the old days, right? And before that, they want to go to US, right? It's because of one of the reasons is probably you guys would know. Maybe you can tell me why, because you guys are practitioner. Can tell me why? Why company want to go to list in US? Anyone knows? Anyone want to say something? Why? Yes. Okay. And how does it relate to our model result? Yes. So that is the reason, right? And that also explains why the market that has less information asymmetry would have higher valuation, right? So that's why people want to list there, because the PE ratio, right, is higher in the US, right? It's more transparent, right? And at least in this model, it shows you the reducing information asymmetry is very important, right? And hope that has some implication to that. Okay? Is there any question to that? Okay. And so that explains a lot of the IPO things happening, right? And that is the reason why when firms, when they do IPO, right, they need investment bank. What is the purpose of investment bank? I mean, you guys know better than I do, right? Because so why we need investment bank in IPO? Anyone want to say something? Why? What is the purpose? What is the role of the investment bank in the IPO? What are they doing? Anyone want to say something? Right? Underwriting. So underwriting is doing what?
If the company can go list, they have the responsibility to hire the managers. So it means the IBAN evaluate the company and have enough conviction to have the company go list. So it's a signaling equilibrium to the market that the company is good enough to list, or else the investment bank will bear some of the costs.
Okay. So what this classmate said is absolutely amazing. So what he said is the investment bank is basically more like insurance, right? Just like if no one buy, he'll buy, right? So his interest to make sure that everything is right, set the right price and tell the right information. If not, then he'll take over, right? So that is the role, right, of that. Okay. That's the reason why the GM market in the world, not just Hong Kong, most of the thing in the world doesn't work very well, right? Because of the smaller the company is, right, the more information asymmetry can be, right? Now, and the solution, as actually you have hinted, is one way to signaling, right? And if there's a more information asymmetry, the more likely that the firm is going to send more costly signal, right? So you can see what kind of firm is more likely to use more expensive underwriter, right? And you see a more prestigious underwriter doesn't actually mean that the firm is better. Quite the contrary, right? If you are actually the worst firm, you want to hire a better underwriter, right? So you have to think in the mindset differently, right? Of course, there's some counteracting effect, right? Because if you are a very good investment bank, you only want to underwrite a good firm, otherwise your reputation is at risk, right? So that's not monotonic, right? There's something in the middle, right? It's like you see same as the auditor, right? Auditor is also playing a role there, right? And why firm would willing to pay for Big Four auditing, which costs more than non-Big Four, right? These are the idea there, okay? And the other one is cost screening, okay? Which would be things that we'll call, usually people will refer to contract theory, which is the buyer try to offer a contract, okay? Which we will be a little bit more specified, but you can imagine a buyer tell the seller the following, okay? If the car has no problem, okay, for 1 year, I pay you $100. If the car actually breaks down, I only pay you $20, okay? If this kind of offer can be done, that will be okay, okay? And some of you may argue, what does this kind of thing exist in the financial market? Anyone know this kind of thing exists? That the two sides gambling. So, anyone try? No? Okay. A gambling like this is like when VC, they do it, also do that, right? When they, within 2 years, can go list, that is fine, otherwise you pay back, right? And also there are a lot of gambling contract, right? I think it's like when they would try to promise the outside finance guy, you lend me the money, if my money goes by, my revenue go up by that much, then this is, then I don't need to pay back, otherwise I would give you the original money, right? There's a lot of this kind of contract, right? And this is kind of this problem, okay? But of course, this kind of financial arrangement is the idea of corporate finance, which we don't go to detail. I'll try to give you the basic framework, but you can see how it applied there. Okay? So, I guess only 1 minute. I don't want to start the new model, but just say after the break, we'll give you a more general model of lemon, okay? And tell you how the signaling solve the problem, okay? So, yeah, let's have a break of 15 minutes. I will open the you reply, then you can tell me how you feel.
上堂教嗰個 C cap ham 咧，
啊
有 random pause，因為
你 random 咩咩？
有 random pause。
哦，講，OK。
咁因為 C
我
cap
我
ham
睇住。
suggest C cap ham suggest 嗰樣嘢。See you on Thursday. Yes, absolutely. Can you help me confirm if Robin she signed up before? I'm not sure if she's coming back. She was like, I'm not sure. She did it before we changed the date. Yes.
For those of you come back, try to fill in the form, then we see how things goes. So maybe let's see the result. How you feel? Oh, okay. So it seems like okay. Less people feel that worse compared to last time. More people feel okay and good. Possibly because of the happiness effect after the quiz. Usually it's like this. So if no, then I would, in case you haven't, just fill in this one. Okay. And please try to do it. If you, then I know how fast, how slow, how difficult should be. Keep tracking, okay? Because there's information asymmetry between you and me, okay? I don't know how difficult it is, and I don't know how you feel it's easy or not, right? So it's anomalous feedback will help me to see how I adjust the speed I'm teaching and how difficult the material should be, okay? You can also leave how you feel about the quiz at the question 5 or 6, okay? So let me go to the next part. So the lecture seems to be okay, the speed so far. And so far it's okay. The lecture you can follow. And one question is difficulty of final similar. Yes, as I said, the quiz, one of the reasons why I go to quiz is let you know how you can prepare, right? Because different teachers have different style, but you will see how I make the MC questions. Of course, in the final, you expect some longer question, but you have to write something, but otherwise, the part MC will be similar to what we have today. Okay. Asymmetry has a cost. So yeah, I try to be as transparent as possible. So whenever you ask me if I can say, I can say. If I can't say, I tell you I can't say. Okay, I try to be as transparent. I'm single because I'm peach. Have girlfriend is lemon. In some sense, that is what is actually happening in China. Those, you look at those ladies that actually didn't get married, is actually earn more and actually have a higher income. It's empirical result, not saying whatever, but just a large scale of. And but they apply to lady, but I'm not sure the men are equally apply. Yeah, so maybe that's true. I don't know the data, but at least for the woman it's like this. For the men, I don't know actually, because no one actually study what the man doesn't get married. Because you know, right, in China, right, the man didn't get a wife, actually may go to Vietnam or Thailand to buy one. So I really don't know if you do not get married, what does that mean? So yeah, it's very smart, but I have to say this is not my idea, it's our great TA's idea. I want to take the credit, but I can't. So that's why we told you not to look at others, okay? If you listen to our advice, then you shouldn't be worried about that. Yeah, that is exactly what it said, right? Information asymmetry really lead to a problem. And there's a lot of things that we do actually to solve this information asymmetry, right? And that's why the financial market is so huge, right? It's because of everyone there is just trying to solve the problem, right? No matter the bank, the accountant, the investment banker, or the platform, the government, the regulator, everyone is trying to solve this information asymmetry, right? Without information asymmetry, we don't have this class at all. So thanks to them, right? No question, that's good. Our Macy wants to kick football in the class. There must be some information asymmetry. I don't know what does that mean, but good man and good woman can get married. Oh yes, that's why the signaling, right? So that's why good men, they buy house and buy cars to show that they are wealthy, right? In the nature, it's like this, right? The peacock, right? The male peacock, right, have very extensive fur, right? Which has no use, right? Because to show off how strong he is, even though he's handicapped, right? So we know that happened. Open book doesn't solve information symmetry. True. I mean, if you don't know, you still don't know, right? I mean, doesn't really solve the problem. Okay, only you do the revision only can solve the problem. Okay. Okay. I hope marriage is a contract, right? It's a contract where it's open-ended contract, right? It's a continuing contract, right? And I think in some country, right, the marriage has a finite term, right? But I think in most of the case where it's the contract between two families in the old days, right? But now I think we're different. Anyway, so let's get back to the slide. So now what we're going to do is to show you that lemon market, how we give a little bit more general model, give some idea that it can be a little bit more structure. Okay. So this model, we have many sellers and many buyers, and they trade for used cars. Okay. And now we not only just have good car and bad car, we allow the quality of cars continuous, represented by a variable Q. See, Q can be any number. Okay. For simplicity, the seller would think that if he has a quality Q car, the value to him is just Q. Okay. If his quality is 50, okay, he's willing to take more than $50 to sell it. If less than $50, he don't want. Okay, that's very simple. And we want to make the problem non-trivial. So the buyers looking at the car, if the car is Q, he wants to pay 1.5 Q for the car. So suppose Q is 100, he's willing to pay at maximum 150. If the Q is 50, he's willing to pay 75. Okay? If 10, he's willing to pay 15. Okay? So we make the simplified assumption that we have more buyer than seller, so that if everything is perfect, okay, the car would sell at 1.5 Q, right? Because that's what people willing to pay. Okay. And let's make our life easier. We make Q uniform to 0 to 100. Okay? That means that if I randomly draw a guy there, the car will value just draw a number from 0 to 100. Okay? So these are just making the life easier to calculate. Okay? Is that okay, the setup? Okay, question. Oh, because, okay, just transfer. So the quality is 0 to 100. Suppose the quality is 50. The seller is willing to sell more than 50. And the buyer, if the car is 50, they at most they can pay 75. Anything below 75, they will pay. Okay. Is that clear? Good. This is the model. So very simple case, we have two simple cases where information is symmetric. That's a nice case. The case is everyone knows Q, so there's no secrecy. Okay, Q is well known. Everyone can observe it very well. There's no hiding. Okay, and in that case, every car, I know the Q. The price will be 1.5 Q, right? If the car is 50, it's sold at 75. If the car is 100, it's sold at 150. Right? The reason because there are more buyer than seller, right? So seller can sell at the price, the maximum that buyer will buy. Okay? And if no one's no Q, okay, then everyone is in a black box, right? So everyone would try to, what's the price there? Will be the average quality, right? Because seller don't know what the car is, right? And the buyer doesn't know. So Q is uniform to 0 to 100, right? So basically draw a lottery, right? So 0 to 100, average is 50, right? So no matter which car you draw your closer eye, the car you expect is 50. Okay? So how much you need to pay for that will be 50 times 1.5, 75. See? So in this market, no one knows, there's also no problem. This is the outcome. Okay? There's neither inefficient or what, but this is, they don't know, this is what expect is everything is efficient. The markets, every car got traded, no problem at all. Okay? Of course, this is a benchmark case. Let's see the case where we see the problem, which is usually the case, right? This is the case where, which we don't see in the previous market, right? The previous market, we still see a lemon car being traded. In this market, the market completely breaks down. Okay? So why? Okay? Let me show you why in this model. We'll say no matter which price you charge, or any price you think is equilibrium, doesn't exist. Okay? Let's imagine, okay? So if the price is P, okay, only owner, okay, who think the car, the quality less than P, will sell it. Okay, suppose the case, make it simple. Suppose the car is 50, the market price is 50. Who would keep the car? Quality, if more than 50, they will keep the car, right? Suppose the price is 50, right? So if you value the car like 60, then you don't sell it, right? If the value of the car is 45, then you might sell it, right? But as long as your quality, what your investment value, right, you think, right, is more than the market price, you don't want to sell it, right? So that's the first bullet point there, right? If your quality, the car you're having, you know your quality, right? The quality is more than the market price, you don't sell it. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that if the price is P, if you're a buyer, what you expect the average quality in this market is from 0 to P, right? Suppose the price is 50. Okay? You know that there should be no car, the quality is more than 50, right? They will keep the car, right? So only you expect is anything from 0 to 50, right? If 0 from 50, then the average quality is just P over 2, right? If P is 50, then you expect only 25 is the average quality, right? But then how much you want to pay for that? Right? It's 1.5 of my expectation, right? Which is 0.75 P, which is less than P, okay? So let me make an example. Suppose P is 50, okay? Only 0 to 50 would sell, would be available, okay? and you expect 0 to 50, you expect only 25 is the expected quality, right? How much you need to pay is 37.5, right? But they're selling what, 50 bucks. I'm not going to buy it, right? The price is 50, but I'm only going to pay 37.5, so no. Is that clear? So this P is generic, so it means that no matter which P, except P is 0, okay? I mean, P is 0, there's no car anyway, it means, right? Otherwise, there's no solution, right? So in this model, right, if you really want to be precise, only equilibrium is P equals 0, which actually is no car, right? So market breaks down, right? And that explains why when information asymmetry happen, the market completely breaks, right? And that's why you can see, as I said, right, when you do IPO, when there's a huge information asymmetry, there's no stock there, right? That's why there's a lot of developing country, there's no stock market or very few stock there, right? You look at, I mean, probably you guys know better than I do, right? You look at the, maybe go to Bloomberg terminal or go to Reuters terminal, right? Look at around the world, right? I mean, look at the Africa or South America, right? You don't see many stocks, right? They all go to UK, many of them, right? And that explains, right? Because you may not believe their stock market, right? They don't believe their regulator, so you just, the market completely breaks down, right? There's no stock market at all. So then the question you will ask, okay? Then in that case, when you will see the lemon market, when you will see the market breakdown, of course, it actually depends on how information asymmetry is going, okay? Suppose we make the quality not from 0 to 100, okay? It's from 20 to 100, okay? That means that the variance of quality reduce, right? Of course, I can make it to 0 to 80, the same idea, but I just make the range of quality reduce, okay? Then you will see there will be market exists, okay? And you can see, I mean, without going into detail first, but what does that mean here? It means that it's very important for regulation, right? What is doing here? Is the regulator or the SEC actually cut out the firm that is not good. When you cut out those, the market will exist, right? The watchdog property of the SEC is very important. If you don't refuse bad firm, then it doesn't exist, right? Or they have to segregate, right? That the main board or the GM board, right? Otherwise, they can't exist, right? So let's try to see if you cut out the car that's not so good, okay? Then we can kind of, the model, you will see there's some lemon market, but the market still there, okay? Let's see, okay? Now, if the quality is from 20 to 100, okay? If the market price is P, okay? What will be your expected quality in the market, okay? Same as before. If you're a seller, if your car has quality that is more than P, you don't sell it, right? Because that's the value to you, right? So the only thing you can think is for a buyer is 20 to P, right? It's uniform, so it's average. P plus 20 over 2, so it's 10 plus half of P. Okay? This will be the average quality, right? And how much we need to pay is 1.5 of this one, right? So it's 15 times a quarter of P will be this one to pay, okay? And in equilibrium, right? This is your benefit, right? P is your cost, right? Cost must equal to benefit, right? Because you're paying price P, right? And you're getting, on average, 15 plus 0.75p. In equilibrium, this equates. That means that the market price is 60. Okay? That means that in this model, cars, the quality from 20 to 60 are sold. Okay? Yes, yeah, car 60 are sold, right? And then the rest is not there. Okay? So not every car is being sold. Okay? Is that okay? Because if you put 60 here, you're selling at $60, right? Okay? Is that clear? So everyone is selling. The car is selling at $60. Okay? And beyond 60, there's no one being sold. Okay? And if you buy the car, you expect the quality is like 40, right? Because 60 times 0.5 times 10, right? So it's average quality is like 40. Okay. So the moral of this math, I don't want to bother with math, but in case you want to know the math, that's there, but that's the remark there. Okay. The main important part is remark, right? The remark would be, okay, if you allow the regulator SEC, right, to cut out some bad firm, okay, you can sustain a stock market. Okay, but look at it in this stock market, the best possible firm actually not listed anyway, right? So the way good firm actually is not listed, right? Only those actually not so good list, right? But if you cut more, okay, if you increase 20 to more, then more car being sold, right? So that's why it's very important, right, to cut out that not so good firm, okay? If you lower the quality, then actually the market breaks down, okay? Is that okay? So I mean that may give you some idea why I think a few years ago, SEC Hong Kong actually lowered the listing requirement, and some people complain about this, okay? I don't want to take side on this, okay? Because of maybe this is not politically correct, but you can judge whether it's right or wrong, okay? I don't take a stand on this one, but okay? So is that okay for this one, okay? So explain why it's important, why the US is being so careful, right? You can imagine why, probably if you know the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency now, I think the ETF is in the US, but the SEC is very careful, okay? Say not to endorse this, right? Say, no, okay, we are careful, right? Because of, he don't actually know how it's going, right? Because there are a lot of information asymmetry still in the cryptocurrency market, right? Everything is dark, right? We didn't know who owned what, right? So that's why, at least I think it would take years before cryptocurrency actually get into the stock market because of this, right? Because you don't want, if you allow this quality from turning to zero, then everything dies. Okay, so that's why they have been very careful in that aspect. Signaling. So just give you a very brief idea. We don't want to go to detail, but signaling is very useful to also reduce information asymmetry. And particular costly signaling is very important. Okay. So now we change the story a little bit to allow the owner of the car to do something, right? Because we said that good car not being sold, right? Actually, they're good car, but they should have able to sell it because they have larger surplus, right? Because people are willing to pay 50% more than the quality, right? So he should have a lot of gain actually to trade. So now we allow that the owner can actually go to a third party inspector to say, certify my car, okay? And this is costly. It costs $15, okay? Of course, if it is zero, then everything problem solved, right? There's no information entry. This time must be costly, $15, okay? So let's see what kind of outcome that you would observe in this model, okay? And let's look at the case, the owner, okay? Which type of owner will be willing to do this certification, okay? Of course, this cost is constant. That means that if your quality is high, then you're more likely to do it, right? So we just need to find a guy that is indifferent, okay? Then any seller that's more than that will also do it, okay? Suppose a guy 80 would do it, 81 would do it, 83 would do it, right? Because the higher quality would have more gain, right? Because the quality you multiply by 50% is the people willing to pay, right? So the higher quality guy would have more benefit of doing the certification. So we just need to find the cutoff, okay? So in this expression, okay, the left-hand side, okay, is when the seller is not doing his certification, okay, and that he will be think together with the guy who don't do certified, right? So it means the following, right? So now 0 to 100. Now we focus on the case where we have 20 here, right? So what we should see is the following. Okay. There is a Q here, okay? And this and beyond will go to certify, okay? Okay. And this is not, right? Not. Okay. Why? This guy, if this guy is indifferent, all this will go because go to certify can sell at 1.5Q, right? So the one who have more value will do it. So we just need to see, okay, if this guy, he didn't certify, he will be mixed together with 20, right? People will think either it's drawing from 20 to Q, just average quality, right? Times 1.5 is the people willing to pay, okay? And if he go to certify, right? Everyone know his quality is Q, people pay 1.5Q. But he need to go to certify, which costs $15. Okay? So that is why the equality there. Okay? The left-hand side is 20 times Q, right? Because you are drawing number from here, right? Uniform, just add up times 2, but divide by 2, right? And people willing to pay for 1.5 of that. Okay? And if you go to certify, everyone knows your Q, right? And people are willing to pay 1.5 Q for that. And you pay $15 for certification. Okay? And this guy's indifferent, so they must equalize. Okay? And you solve it, it's like $40. Okay, 40Q, sorry, 40Q means that, okay, from 20 to 40, okay, they will just sell without certification. And here, people will go certify. Okay? So somehow you can imagine this is exactly what you would think is people go to list the main board, right? This is the main board. If you apply in finance, right? This main board, right? This GM. right? You spend a lot of money to get listed in the main board, right? Because by listing the main board, you ask the investment bank, you ask the accountant, you ask the auditor, you ask everyone to certify your thing. Of course, it's not, people don't know Q, but more or less they know the Q, right? And then you don't know, then you're mixed up with go to the GM, right? And there, right? Or you can think that a company that maybe he go to overseas to list, right? Maybe US or UK or Hong Kong, right? And you make an A share, right? Something like that, right? Along that line, okay? So signal is very important because when once you signal, this part still there, right? And otherwise, if you don't have this kind of signaling, causes signal, you cannot separate the market, right? And only the market only have lemon, right? So I hope it explains what you will see why we have so much certification, right? Why you're here, why you spend $500,000 to come to take a master program. Look at this question. Why? Tell me why. Use the model we discussed to explain why you study a master program. What's the benefit? What's the benefit? Certify, right? To tell you that you are very productive. You are very capable, okay? You don't want to mix with the bachelor, okay? You are master, right? You're master of finance. So how can you distinguish? You pay, right? And we certify you after you take the exam, say you're good, you know the finance, then you graduate, then people pay more, okay? And that's the money you pay, right? So that is the reason. Is that clear? Okay, you're doing signaling anyway, right? Is that okay? Yes, question. 35. Oh, because the buyer thing is 30, average cost is 30, right? And the buyer is going to pay 1.5, 50% more the quality to buy it. There's assumption there. The buyer always going to pay 50% more quality to hold it. So that's assumption is here. We have been saying that every buyer, if they know the quality Q, they want to pay 1.5 Q. Okay? So I hope, hopefully you think it's happier because of this course. Okay? Okay. Now, as I said, I mean, IPO is very costly, right? Everyone knows it, right? And you can see also from here why we still have this inefficient arrangement, because basically information asymmetry, right? Because there's no way you can signal it, okay? And costly signal is possibly the only way. And we don't have time to go here, but that actually related to the standard corporate finance idea, the dividend policy, right? And many of you would know, right? Dividend is the very costly action for firm, right? Why? Because firm use his hard-earned cash to give the shareholder, which is very costly, right? I mean, the cost of capital is very large because of cash. But you will see a lot of management actually keep their dividend policy, remain the same, even though the company is doing very badly, right? Even though the company is making losses or making not so good, they would sell their business or to make some way to make sure the dividend remain the same or keep the dividend, right? And reason, no, you learn it, then you should explain, right? I mean, otherwise, what you're learning. So can you tell me why? I already said, but you can tell me why. Why company would do that?
To signal the market they have very stable profit and cash flow.
Yes.
Different period of time.
Yes. Just trying to tell the market that even though today is not good, okay, still I'm willing to pay means that I look at the future, I'm expecting very good, okay? I'm willing to suffer the cost, okay? And that exactly what it means, okay? And that actually related to the rule. I think I don't know now it still exists. Is when a man and a woman got married, and one thing that the rule of thumb is the man has to give the woman something very important, is the ring, which is diamond, right? And how large is the diamond? How big is diamond? What's the rule? Anyone know? What? Monotone, bigger the better. But, okay, of course, but still, I mean, what's the rule? 1 month salary, right? Why? Why is not, say, a fixed size, right? Why 1 month salary? Show your commitment, right? Because it's costly, right? So only this is costly will be showing that it's like this. You're high quality, right? And right, there's some other commitment like the woman would require the man to write her name on the property, right? This is kind of the thing that happened, signaling there, okay? Is there any question? Is the question, so I already tell you the signaling issue, okay? No? Okay, good. So we have adverse selection, okay? So there, besides signaling, there are two ways to solve it. It's called adverse selection and moral hazard. And signaling is the one that who has private information to tell the other guy that I'm good, okay? Adverse selection problem and the moral hazard, how we solve this problem will the other way around, okay? But later you will see, okay? So, but let's define what is adverse selection, okay? A lot of math, okay? But I will try to simplify and try to give you intuition. Some of you told me that I shouldn't change any math, change any slide, so I just keep the math crazy notation there. I will just skip, okay? But the idea of adverse selection is when two parties try to sign a contract, okay? There's a hidden information there, okay? Example is like the following, okay? It's part of the outsourcing story, okay? It's what we call principal agent problem. It's where you try to ask the other guy to do things, okay? Or they into a relationship, whether it's romantic or financial or whatever, right? Finance is a relationship, right? Because it's just right? Financial claim. So the problem here is I don't know whether the guy is good or bad. Okay? How can we structure our relationship? Okay? How the payment is there. Okay? So here just outsourcing story is a firm, she don't want to do production. Okay? She delegate to the other guy. Okay? Just like your boss, right? The boss can do the job, but he delegate the job to you, you do it. Right? Or company have to delegate the job to the manager or the CEO to manage a company, right? Because it's common, right? In the common days, right, the company is owned by so many shareholders. You have to delegate the task to someone, okay? And I don't know the guy is good or bad, okay? So let's make the simple case is the production, okay? Let's see how much math I should talk. I try to some math, but if you don't probably get the math, it doesn't really matter. But at least I try a little bit first. So it's very simple. The problem is the firm tried to ask the outsider to produce Q unit of output for the firm, okay? And how much profit the firm can get is represented by S of Q, okay? The more product is produced, of course, higher profit, okay? If I have S of 0, if 0 means if nothing is produced by the outsourcer, he get no profit, right? And here means S prime bigger than 0, actually they say, just mean the Q is higher, is more, right? And this S double prime is less than, it just simply means the concave function. So it means it's Q here, S of Q is here, okay? Simply mean we have something like that, okay? When it's 0, it increases and decreasing rate, that's it, okay? A concave function, okay? And the production cost for the outsourcer has some fixed cost, F, okay? Which we will make it to 0 anyway, okay? And in this model, the only thing that is not known by the principal, which is the marginal cost, is denoted by the theta L theta H, right? It's either he's a low cost outsourcer or high cost, okay? And we'll assume there's some probability that he's a low cost, probably V, and 1 minus V is high cost, okay? You can imagine that it's a tree diagram, right? With V, with a low cost, right? 1 minus V will be high cost, okay? So that's the tree diagram. That is familiar there, okay? Okay. And of course, the difference between the two, right, is what we call the delta theta, is how the uncertainty big is there, how big the uncertainty is there. And this turned out to be very important measurement, okay? So the cost of production is just fixed cost plus the marginal cost times the quantity, right? So this is setup, okay? Although it's a little bit mathy here, but I guess you get the story. It's like there's a principle, okay? Maybe app, yes.
What does the spread term mean? The spread of a term, what is measuring?
Yeah, we're measuring how private information that the agent have. Okay, suppose the firm is Apple, the agent is Foxconn, right? Foxconn, right? He's just delegated to some manufacturer there, right? And he don't know whether he's high cost or low cost. Okay, he has to design a contract, specify the payment, such that to maximize his thing. But we'll be more clear later. But it tells us how seriousness of the information asymmetry is. Okay, how big the problem is. So same as the Q is whether it's 0 to 100 or 20 to 100, this kind of idea. Okay. So, so as you said, the contract theory, it is how to solve this problem is the firm or the principal, okay, would tell the outsider, outsourcer, would say, okay, if you produce this much, I pay you this. Say, suppose you produce 50 units of good, I pay you $100. If you produce 200 good, I pay you 1,000, so on and so forth. Okay, it's just like it's a telling you, you produce this, I pay you this. You produce this, I pay you this. Okay, so you say give you a menu. Okay? And I allow take away money, but that is the contract. Well, so basically, contract theory is basically telling you different types. Okay, and those of you who actually learn the undergrad for adverse selection, or it's like insurance contract, right? It's like I give you full insurance or car, right? Full insurance. This is the price. If there's a partial insurance, high deductible, right? It will be another price. The same idea here. Okay, but here it's just the quantity, right? How much unit you produce, I pay you this much. Okay. Now, let me quickly talk about the time and the break. Okay, so what is the problem here? Okay, is first is the agent who know he is a efficient firm or not efficient firm, or a borrower, if you consider this case is the bank and a firm, right? Whether the borrower is actually a good borrower or not good borrower, right? And after this, okay, the principal will give a contract, okay, which is telling them if this quantity, I pay you this much. If this quantity, I pay you this much, and so on and so forth. Okay? And after that, the agent will decide whether to accept the contract or not. After acceptance, then we produce, and then payoff realize. Okay? So what it's doing here is basically is a dynamic game. It's a game tree there, right? First is the nature tell us matter type, and the principal gives the contract, and the contract is signed, and the contract execute. Okay? Yes? Oh, I can take away money from them. If you produce nothing for of the target, I take away the money. I allow that happen. In general, you allow punishment, right? If you don't produce, then I punish you. That's what happened. But in this model, we don't use it anyway. But this is allowed in a contract. So this is basically the model. Okay, and let me finish this slide because this is I think it's very useful benchmark. Then we'll break. Okay. So suppose that the ideal case where there's no information asymmetry. Okay, I actually know the guy is a good firm or bad firm, efficient firm or less efficient firm. Okay, so what kind of outcome we expect to be? Okay, the model looks crazy, but it's very simple. Okay, so the principle just say because I know who is who. It's very simple. What I'm doing is, okay, I just make sure that for each type, I know which type. So I maximize my profit minus my payment, right? T theta is the payment to type theta, okay? There's a minor typo here, there's a theta here, okay? And the payment is just enough to cover the cost, right? I just maximize this. So very simple. If I know who is who, I just pay enough to cover his cost and that's it. I keep everything in my pocket. Okay? And how much unit I'm producing is very simple. It's just marginal cost equal to marginal revenue, right? Marginal cost of the guy who produced is just theta L if the type is L. What's the marginal benefit? It's just S prime, right? It's just the slope, right? You just like this, right? Just like this is Q, this is S of Q, right? It's increasing this is the slope, right? The slope is S prime of Q is you increase 1 unit of quantity, how much revenue you get, right? It's the marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, right? So everything is very nice, right? And you just pay this to the high type, pay the low type, okay? And this is what you get, okay? So there's no distortion, okay? The firm is, the agent know whatever, right? Being known, right? You are charged, you're paid exactly the cost. That's very simple, okay? After the break, we'll talk about if the principal cannot do this. He cannot tell who is who, okay? He must offer 2 different contracts, okay? One let the firm self-select, okay? What I mean is he offer 2 contracts. One is say, you produce a lot, I pay you a lot. You produce less, I pay you less. Then the good firm will choose 1 contract, the bad firm choose other. Okay? Just like imagine, same as insurance cases. You have full insurance, high premium. Partial insurance, low premium. Then healthy guy would choose the partial insurance, pay less insurance. Not so healthy guy would choose the full insurance, pay high premium. Same idea here. Okay? But we will try to quantify that in the model, okay? And give you interpretation in the financial market, okay? But let's have a 15 minutes break and then we'll talk about that.
S prime 之後嗰個係，即係呢度都仲明，跟住但係點解呢個 S prime 即係呢個係會最後 QL 升，即係
因為咁。呢個 CFD， 即係話呢個 low cost 係
呢個 QL 個 Q 係
S prime of Q，
即係呢個 Q 係 quality，
你全部都一樣，點叫得一樣？quality same， 你想點叫得？
即係佢呢個 QL 係 low quality 嘅 high cost。
嗱，所以呢個 answer 呢個有2種嘅 firm 就係呢個 high cost low cost。high
cost low cost。
咁你就 low cost 嘅話，low cost 嘅話，呢個低啲係嘛？呢個低啲咪值嘅。
low cost firm 數量
你而家你明白呢隻先？咁呢個低啲係咪即係呢個成個低啲？咁呢個低啲咪即係裏邊嘅高啲？因為 S prime 係 increasing。
咁個 equilibrium 個即係呢個 imply 緊 QL 升，但係個 QH 升係代表
買完佢
即係講緊
個 contract 係咩啊？
講緊係個 Q 升 of low。
你嘅 equilibrium 就係俾 QL 跟 QH， 跟住俾嘅錢就係 TH 跟 TH， 就係 contract。
即係 separate 俾兩個錢。
你係咁啊？你 contract 你係話你俾 QL star， 我就俾 TH star，TH
知道邊個嚟㗎嘛。如果你係 high tech，我係俾你個 contract。
OK，即係呢個個 equilibrium 個意思純粹就係講緊我俾呢個錢就等於你個 quality 嘅 quantity， 就冇
唔係，我係 OK，呢個係 quantity，OK，quantity model，OK， 我就話你係 high cost 嘅，我同你講話，你俾咗咁，你 produce 咁多嘢俾我俾咁多錢你。唔係你可以睇嘅，因為我知你邊個啊嘛。咪譬如話我知陣間你講 insurance 嚟㗎，我知道你係有病嘅，我就你比較弱嘅，我就俾個 full insurance charge high premium。
OK， 即係如果係我知你係邊個，我就你 high quality 我就俾個好啲嘅價錢，你貴啲我就俾貴啲，你平啲我就俾。
insurance 咪講呢條友咪即係話呢條友咪即係窮，呢條友咪即係病啲咯，病啲你咪俾個你病嗱你病啦，你俾個 full insurance 你收佢 premium 咯。呢個冇得病嘅，咁你咪俾平啲嘅 premium， 俾多啲 deductible。係啦，你 total 就連埋咯。
或者即係同一個 coverage， 但係你個 probability 低啲，咁我就收你平啲。
呢個係啦，即係如果呢個
即係呢個 perfect world 啦，
你知道佢係邊個啊嘛？係啦，即係我知道啦，呢個人咧係成本貴啲嘅，咁我咪俾你生產少啲咯。
即係如果喺 perfect world， 我知你有病，我就收你貴啲；我冇病，我同一個 coverage 就收你平啲。但係如果喺現實嘅話，因為冇 full information， 我就有分墊底同冇墊底。
即係墊底就係為咗為咗
differentiate。係。
因為你唔知道佢個，你如果知道佢嘅 cost reduction， 咁你咪如果你係佢嗰個 marginal cost 高啲嘅，咁你咪生產咁多咯。係嘛？咁呢即係你 ETH 就係㗎啦。咁但係呢個其實就係 marginal cost。咁其實有一個即係呢條關鍵係因為呢個 marginal cost， 呢個 marginal cost， 即係你個 revenue 嘅 SQ 嘅 SQ 嘛。你 total 嘅 benefit 嘅 SQ 就係減俾啲嘢。咁你而家你想點咧？就係話你點樣 optimal？ 就係話你就係要啱啱好俾到佢個 marginal， 你 charge 嘅時候，你知道佢 low cost 嘛？你咪 charge 咁多錢。唔係呢個係 total， 因為你成咗咁啱佢咪佢嘅生產就係嗰成本，咪你一蚊都唔俾，淨係粒晒啦，就粒晒啲嘢咯。嗰個 Q 係 quality 同 quantity。呢個 model 我哋係冇分別嘅，我哋用 quantity， 因為 measure 到㗎嘛。因為我哋 marginal cost， 我哋個 model 係冇所謂。
我想問一問咧，即係你覺得 firm 同個 outsider 咧嗰個關係點樣去理解？
即係咁個 principle 係啦 agent 係咪？個 principle 想生產 Q 咁多個 con 嘅 product， 佢唔生產咪揾佢生產啊嘛。生產完之後我就俾幾多錢你咯？即係我多成㗎嘛，即係好似呢個蘋果要話富士康做嘢，咁蘋果唔會做機㗎嘛。富士康有幾個生產成本幾高㗎嘛。我即係同你講話，我唔知你高低定唔低嘅，總之就係話咧，我就如果睇到你係高定低嘅，咁咪同我自己冇分別㗎。我咪就係話壓曬你所有 service， 我知道你咁多錢嘅，我就話你生產咁多，我咪俾咁多錢。咁你生產幾多咧？就係你生產嘅你嘅邊際成本同埋邊際利潤。我邊際利潤就係
呢個 graph 係蘋果嘅，呢一個係蘋果，唔係富士康。
蘋果
呢個係蘋果。
我哋想畫埋富士康真係好易嘅，富士康係咁。富士康就係咪咁？
咁啊 T 係
T 係佢俾幾多錢？呢個 principal 嘅 agent 啦。咁我就同你講話嗱，我俾個 contract 你生產 Q 咁多咧，我就俾 T 咁多錢你啦。咁佢咪如果知道佢乜水嘅，咁咪就俾個 contract 咪搞掂咯。而家我知道佢邊個㗎嘛，我知道佢生產成本就10蚊，唔係話俾你聽嗱，我知你10蚊嘅，
咁你咪同我個新貼點啊？你就10個 Q 俾我哋咯，10個 Q 咯。咁點解幾多 Q 啊？咪睇下你個 S 幾多咯。叫咗幾多 Q 嘛？咁我睇下我個生產個邊際利潤係咩啊嘛？呢幅圖個 S 決定咗我生產幾多 Q 有幾多錢。咁咪即係話我個邊際成本10蚊啊嘛，咁咪咁啱個 stock 係10蚊，我咪停咯。
咁其實 A 都有 cost。A
個 cost 咪就10 Q，
但佢都有佢冇邊隻，即係佢
邊成本咪就10 Q 咯，
就係每10
係10 Q 咯。如果有可能係個低成本低啲，可能係個5 Q 嘅，咁我唔知，整我做嗰度，你唔知10 Q 到5 Q 你冇做。
咁如果呢幅圖嘅話，佢蘋果係本身係幾多點嘅生產？係咪 A？
蘋果就係唔知成果只能夠，
佢唔知道，
但係佢知道自己。如果我知道佢，咪自己打啲錢咪搞掂咯。
但係佢點樣知？但係佢係有 benefit 佢先會揾
我理解。如果佢知，咁佢咁樣做；如果佢唔知，佢會同你講話嗱，生產幾多件就幾多錢，生產幾多件幾多錢就幾多錢。所以其實你其實都係咁㗎，你老細叫你做嘢都係點解有 bonus 咁解啫嘛？我唔知你係真係 inefficient 啲㗎嘛？你生產少啲咪俾咁多錢你咯，你做咗咁多單生意咪多俾多啲你咯。就係所有嘢都係咁做。
但係有個 max， 即係佢唔敢去㗎。
係啊，
即係佢就係咯，跟住做咗好簡單。
唔係，係啦，我聽完之後我明你講緊咩，但係我唔知嗰個係點樣 apply 落去。
apply 邊度？
即係譬如你一路講呢個程度，你用個例子嚟講，我聽得明。係啦，但係我望翻呢堆嘢我就
就即係咁講。
即係其實呢幅圖係睇唔到蘋果攞咗幾多 benefit，攞咗幾多着數。
係咪？我睇到。
唔係呢嚿咩？即係 I mean 呢一排由零開始計㗎嘛。
哦，因為我冇 update 個圖啊，圖畫得到嘅，其實畫到嘅。
蘋果係一個 range 係一個點。唔係呢個係成個都蘋果，佢只要計咗個 cost，跟住賣知道幾多啫嘛。呢個係。
唔知聽嘅。
呢個就係個 A 嘅，我真係唔知㗎嘛。呢個係 A 嘅。
呢個係，譬如話呢個係富士康佢哋咁啦。咁呢個富士康嘅話，呢個一條數啦。咁如果呢個啱呢個啱我係中往上。咁即係話最後嘅結果係咩咧？最結果就係話佢個 low cut 就咁，佢個 high cut 就係咁。
有啲困難，好難開波喎。點解唔係講緊？冇圖㗎，真係。你數呢個係嗰個係。
咁最後咧？
咁你要減㗎嘛？睇到呢個 cost 係啦 ，cost 減 cost，我知道嗰個係賺幾多。咁呢張就講到統計，呢個就係嗰個 cost 就冇去啊嘛。咁跟住後邊即係解釋緊個 T 減 T 就係你係啱啱都賺唔到錢。
我想知個 curve 點解係咁？
呢個 S， 因為佢因為 S prime 大過你 ，S prime 大過你，佢 increasingly concave， 即係 concave 嘅。點解唔係咁啊？因為咁嘅就，因為咁咪即係話個 marginal cost 個 marginal 呢個 marginal， 如果唔係咁會越整越多嘅。
係啊，咁佢真係無限去。係啊，呢個係
因為你越多 quantity， 簡單嚟講，你 quantity 越多嘅話，你越少㗎嘛。咁咪佢咪 produce 冇正常，升高正常。唔係因為 perfect information 嘛，咁即係話你知道佢立晒所有嘢，咁咪同你整生唔同樣，所以 marginal cost 買咗 benefit 啦。因為你知道佢筆水嘅，咁即係立晒所有 profit 啦，你俾佢錢同啱啱好 cover 到佢嘅 cost 咁就搞掂。
呢個點都係
咪即係呢個嘅一點多一格咁咪多幾多錢啊？
咁呢個都係聽住。哦，OK。
High cost 嗰個就係少啲咯，low cost 就呢個 marginal cost 係細。
即係呢個 low cost position 係好多嘢。所以佢個邊際邊際量低啲，但係 overall 個利率高啲啦。咁呢個係咪 apply 所有？諗下呢個好 general 嘅 model 先，即係話我唔知嗰條友係乜鬼嘢，咁我叫佢做嘢，咁我咪點樣令佢做嘢？即係你開個，咁我俾咗兩個唔同 concept 佢，陣間會講緊唔同 concept 佢。其實陣間會講到點解而家落雨收遮嚟講。我簡單嚟講，陣間我哋講嗰個 result 係咩就係會話，因為唔可以講俾咗佢個 concept 啊嘛。最後尾就係點咧？就係會 distort 呢個 concept， 將呢個 concept 整差啲。咁等分到兩個人。咁就 exactly insurance company 點解你個 full insurance 嗰個係 premium 一個？就係唔想你啲人扮佢啊嘛，好似 printer 咁，扮佢咯。咁所以點解會credit rationing 或者 bank 落雨收遮嘅咁解？好衰嘅，見到你唔掂就即刻 cut 咗佢咯。就係講呢樣嘢。OK。咁你然後同全班玩一次呢個廣東話玩一次。我諗住教呢啲複雜嘅嘢。你講得太，你講到你非常之有興趣讀呢啲。我一要求啊嘛，即係你如果一樣嘢係20到21日1個標嘅，咁平均係幾多？手頭加尾隨便，即係啲人要俾一啲嗰個 quality 去。如果你唔知道，如果你係個推論點咯，係啊，因為佢知道我哋，我揾緊嗰個有個 owner， 佢願意同佢哋混埋一齊，或者佢願意話俾人聽。咁嗰個人就係我40嗰條友嘅，冇所謂，佢話俾人聽冇所謂。如果佢做嘅人咁佢做唔到。但係大家知道咗係咩？呢個人如果佢話俾人聽，如果佢做咗佢咪可以拿15%，因為佢15蚊。佢一係就要同佢傾埋一齊，一係就自己做。咁啱嗰個人就係冇分40蚊嗰種。
So some of you asked me to do a graphical analysis on this. So let me quickly do that. So the question is like this. So S of Q is the surplus, basically the revenue of the firm. So we have the revenue firm like this, and it's an increasing concave. So that is the assumption. And this is generally satisfied because usually you sell the last unit, right? The profit is less than the first unit, right? So this is rather standard one, okay? And he is this is the graph that where he just, this is the graph like this, right? And if he pay, so that means that this is the graph, okay? Now, let's consider the model in this way, okay? Let's consider a case where we just have the firm. This is the firm. His production cost is just C minus Q, okay? Just consider there's no principal problem, just a firm, okay? And suppose his cost of production is no fixed cost, so the cost of production is just theta times Q, right? Okay. So what you should see is like this, right? Suppose it's theta times Q, right? Sorry for that. Let me feed CQ, right? It's theta times Q, right? Theta is the marginal cost, right? So in this graph, can you tell me which quantity was the best for the firm? Okay, what is the revenue of the firm? Okay, he can decide any Q there, right? The revenue is what? The revenue is SQ minus CQ, right? Revenue minus cost, right, is what? It's the vertical distance, right? So if you pick this point, this will be the profit. Then you can tell me, can you tell which point is actually the maximizing profit? So, okay, it's the location where the maximize, okay? And, but where is actually the vertical distance maximized? Tangent line. Why the tangent line is maximizing? Any? Yes, but more intuitive. Can you tell us intuitive? Assuming I'm a CEO that I don't know math. Okay, yes, I understand, but why that point is the best? Can you give a little bit more? I'm a very dumb CEO who just know how to fire people. Yes. Okay. So, let me explain in that case. Okay. I think you guys know pretty well, but let me try to explain a little bit. So, look at this. Okay. When look at the cost function. Okay. When you produce one more unit, okay, you increase by theta, right? So this is the slope, right? The slope there. And when you're here, you sell one more unit, what is the profit? It's just the slope, right? As long as this slope is higher than this slope, means that you gain, there's marginal revenue more marginal cost, right? You gain more revenue than your cost, so you do it. You do it until you equalize. So that's why the parallel slope is the maximize. Okay? So the optimal, actually you take the FOC the same, right? You just S prime of Q equal to theta, right? This is the marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. Right? I mean, although it looks like I'm teaching the undergraduate, but that's what you do, right? That's what your undergraduate teach you, right? The marginal revenue, you produce, keep producing, because the first unit, the earlier unit, you can earn more revenue than the cost, right? The costs keep the constant, right? So you just increase until they're the same, right? So in the that is exactly the result when you know the agent, the marginal cost, right? Because you extract all the surplus from him, right? So this is exactly the result we have. Okay, this is the first part. I hope it explains why this here. Okay. Now, and if that's okay, let me draw another diagram, which is why we have that. Okay. Q is here, S of Q is here. Okay. We have that. Okay. And in the complete information model, right? And we know that the low cost, this high cost producer, like this, right? And the low cost producer like this, right? So you would know this, right? Parallel, you draw a parallel line. This is Q H star, right? You draw a parallel line here, it's earlier there, right? Parallel line, still, is Q L star. Sorry. It's H, sorry. Right? Right? So that's why the low cost producer would produce more than the high one. That someone asked me that one. Okay. The low cost producer would be parallel at the further point. The high cost will be earlier point. Right? Is that okay? And do note that in this model, because it is the principal who gives the contract to the agent just say yes or no, right? So basically, the agent has no say, right? Basically the principal said, I give you, I just compensate the cost you're producing, and that's it, right? So that's why the contract is this one, right? So that's why the contract, if I know who is who, then I just said, okay, you're high type, right? So maybe I just, the color right. Your low type, your payment, the low type, the payment, I just give you this, okay? And you produce this for me, okay? That's the outcome. Yes, question.
If in perfect world, why there will be QH? If I can get cheaper price at QL, then QL.
Well, I don't know, because the perfect will means the nature decide whether I'm meeting the high type or low type. Okay? I mean, of course. You see? Okay? And, okay? Is that okay? Is that okay here? Okay. So now, let me go back to the slide. Okay. So that's why we have this, right? The slope the same. And we have low type more than high type. I think it's fine. Okay. Note that this is no different in this perfect information world. The outsourcing has no different from actually the firm own the firm, right? Own the outsourcer, right? Because they just do exactly what the firm would have done if everything is integrated, right? So now, of course, there's nothing new here, but the important part is this one. I probably want to skip the example. I want to show you this one. There are too much math here, okay? I'm not going to go to step here, but I will tell you what do we have here, okay? There's too much math here. In this model, now we don't know who is who. Go. So I cannot say, I know you're low cost, I give you this much, you're high cost, I give you much. No, I can't do that. This is hidden information. I cannot have a contract to say high cost, this is my contract, low cost, my contract. I cannot do that. I cannot verify. Okay? What the firm can do, just say, you produce this quantity, this is my payment. This quantity is my payment. And I want the high cost. I would design it, the contract in the sense that it's given a two contract and they self-select there. Low type would go to the contract that decide for the low type. High type go to the high contract. Okay? That is, okay? So this is if the high type, right, offer the high contract, this is the surplus, this is the benefit, okay? And under this scenario, okay, it will be probability V, that will be high type, one must be low type. Okay? So that will be, if this contract successfully separate them, okay, successful, this profit. Don't worry about the math because we don't need to worry about math. I will talk about the conclusion there. Okay? So, there are math here, but I will just tell you what it is, okay? Because I don't want to, I'll explain, but the main thing is you know what it's doing here, okay? The first one is what we call incentive compatible, okay? It just means that because I want the low type to produce more than the high type, right? Low cost, produce more than that. So I want them to take the contract I decide for them. Don't want to swap, don't want to pretend. Just remember the health insurance program. I want the healthy people take the partial insurance, so on and so forth, right? Or other way around, okay? So it means that low type, he take the contract, he get his payment, he will take this cost, this is his profit, more than he pretend to be high, take the high type, okay? Get higher payment for the high type at the low cost. Okay? Same if you're high type. I want you to take your high type, you take the high type contract rather than low type. Okay? Of course, I don't want to bother with math, but just saying the incentive compatible, it means that they take the contract you decide for them. Okay? That's the thing you need to remember. The math is because some people who like math want to know, I just produce there. Okay? It's not important. Okay? But in case you want to know that, that is the math there. Okay? And I want to bother with that. Okay? And the next one is is even more simple. It means that you are not a dictator. There's a contract is voluntary signed. So it means that the low type take their contract, you cannot extract money from them. So they have to pay off must be non-negative. That's it, right? Because they are willing to accept the contract, right? It's not slavery. That's it. Okay? That's very simple. There's no slavery, and that's it, right? No matter you're high type, the high contract, right? So this basically means that they take the contract, right? The reason why this happened, because remember the timing is I need them to sign the contract, right? So that's why I need them to happen. And the incentive compatibility means that the contract is executed according to the design. Okay? So the participant constraint is I want them to sign the contract as T3. The incentive compatibility means that I have two contracts, design each, right? And then they take whatever they want, right? And I remember a joke here, right? I remember there's a house, okay? And there's a famous scientist, okay? And he has one cat. the big cat and a small cat. Okay? And the joke is that he has a door, he has a big door and a small door. Right? Big door for the big cat, small door for a store cat, right? But of course, you know the joke is only unless they come at the same time, they only need one door, right? But here, what we say is, okay, the incentive compatibility means the big cat go to the big door, don't want to go to the small door, and the small cat go to the small door, don't want the big door. Okay? And the incentive compatibility constraint means that this cat want to use the door. Is that clear? So that's the meaning. I mean, that's the meaning we need to remember. Okay? Because that is exactly what we need for that. Okay? And once we have that, okay, I don't want to bother with that, but this is a complex optimization problem, right? It's linear programming. I don't want you to bother with that, okay? I mean, even though if you want, actually you can look at the proof, but I don't want to deal with that. So I want to tell the consequence. At the end, what do you see? Okay, I don't want to deal with the math. Okay? So there's a typo in this old version. Okay. So in this particular model, or in general, actually we see is the efficient producer is to still produce same as the conventional case. Okay? And the inefficient one, okay, actually is not. Okay? Actually it's slightly more. That means that you actually ask them to produce less. Okay? If you try to look at the diagram we have here, it's asking the inefficient type to produce somewhere here. Okay? Somewhere here, that will be the point, that will be the second best. Okay? And you may ask why this would happen, and what actually is what's going on in this stuff. Okay, what do we get in this second best? Okay, let me explain intuitively what's going on there. Okay. So the result would be the following. Efficient type produce efficiently, as I said. Okay? But we need to make sure that, okay, the efficient guy is actually getting some profit. Okay? In order to make sure that he do not pretend efficient type. Okay? So what does it mean here? Okay? Is it's because the efficient type is a good guy, right? He can always pretend to be inefficient, but not the other way around, right? In order to make sure that the efficient guy want to play your game, you need to give him some good thing. Okay? And that's why he actually has some profit there, some surplus. Okay? And the bad guy actually has some distortion. Okay? So It simply means that in the case of why you study master program is the company has to pay surplus to master student in order to attract you to study. Okay? And have to make the undergrad do inefficient job, make sure that you don't pretend to be the bachelor. So basically they overpay, little bit overpay the master and underpay the bachelor. Okay? And why is it true? Because good guy can always pretend to be the bad one. Okay? Make sure that you want to tell me the truth. I need to make sure that you get something. Okay? And also make sure that you don't want to pretend the weaker guy. I make the weaker guy produce less. Okay? So there are 2 points there. Okay, let me repeat the thing because we don't solve the math. So what is the intuition there? First is because the efficient guy can always pretend inefficient, right? So he must get something extra profit in order to make him to pay your game, right? Otherwise, because always pretend, okay? Because always pretend, the efficient guy always pretend, right? Take the one that is, okay? And that's the first thing. The second is you cannot ask the high cost efficient production. Otherwise, it makes him very easy to pretend. So make him produce less so that he can't pretend. Okay? Probably this maybe without going to math, it's very difficult to understand. But I give you the application in finance, then you will see. Okay? Let me give you one application in finance. The application is to explain, in general, what we call credit rationing. Why banks are not willing to lend all the money out. They ration. Suppose you want to borrow $1 million, okay? And the bank usually don't give you all. Or the bank would not, even though it has money, he don't want to lend everything out. Okay? And that's the reason, because I don't know who is good or bad. Okay? In that case, I have to distort the market. Okay? So let's see the example there. Okay? Let me give an example. I don't want to go too deep, but the model is the same thing. Okay? The idea is the following. Okay? So this is the firm. Okay? So this is the bank. Okay? The bank, okay, can provide a loan K, okay, to a firm, okay, and he have to pay the saver, which is interest rate R, okay, and T will be the money that he received from the borrower, okay, and the agent, okay, which is the firm who tried to borrow, he can take the K and put in the production, is F of K, right? Just put in production, right? F is production function, right? Put in production. Okay. And how he do the production depends on how efficient he is. This is theta. Theta is whether he's good firm or bad firm, right? Higher the theta, the better the firm, right? And T is the how he will play the bank. Okay? Is that clear, the model? So everything, you can see everything directly follow this model. Okay? And what this moral hazard, in our selection tell us is the following, is he will design a contract such that if you are a good firm, you can still borrow what you want efficiently. No problem. But if you're a bad firm, okay, they would not give you the wing efficient for you. I will just reduce. Okay? Even though I give you 1 million, you can produce good. But no, I'm not going to borrow 1 million. I just borrow 50 upon 5 billion. Sorry, half $500,000. Okay? It would deliberately reduce the amount of loan that extend to you. Okay? In order to make sure that good firm would borrow efficiently, bad firm would not. Okay? And that is what we call credit rationing. Is you want to, I mean, if they know you're a bad firm, he will actually want to lend you more. But because I don't know, okay, I want to make sure that good firm want to borrow more, bad firm want to borrow less. This is what I will have. Okay, and that actually explains why in this, I mean, I think yesterday or the day before, there's a news saying that local land developer who have high leverage, bank don't want to lend any or very little. The reason why is this, right? Although the bank want to borrow, or sorry, the bank want to lend, right? But he don't know whether he is this one or this one, right? So he has to make sure that in order to make them to self-selected, to make the inefficient firm to borrow less. Okay, in order to separate them. Okay, so that is what credit rationing. So that explains why this thing happened. So there's a famous what's going on there. Is that clear? So maybe let me slightly little bit tricky, but let me see the same happening actually in a lot of cases. Okay, same when you do quality discrimination, also the same. Okay, or price discrimination, or regulation the same. Okay, so if you don't want to know the math, and usually this is a graph probably in your head. Okay, is although I don't want to go, but there's a better graph, but I don't want to make it more complicated. I think this graph is sufficient. So if everything is perfect, you will see this is QH star and QL star will be the outcome. Okay? And if there's a asymmetric information, is adverse selection, what happened in the model is, okay, the firm will still provide this contract, okay, but will pay more than this one. Okay, it will pay more than, so in the complete information, this is being, right? This is the payment, right? But it will be more than this guy, okay? More than this guy, to make sure that the low efficient producer don't want to pretend to be the high cost. Okay, so that's the thing. And also make this inefficient production lower to make sure that you don't want to go as well. So need to do two things to make sure they didn't go. So that is the thing, is there's no distortion for efficient. There's huge distortion for the inefficient one, right? So that is actually why for banks, right, it's very efficient for big company. Always in the world, there's a banking industry doesn't work well for small and medium enterprise, right? Because he designed a contract so badly for inefficient firm, right? So that you always have a problem for the small and medium enterprise. Okay? Because he don't want the efficient firm to pretend, right? And in this model also as well is big firm also get better deal, right? Because small firm actually don't get any surplus, but the efficient firm actually get a lot of benefit. Okay? And apply this to your master program, right? That means that if the firm want to attract, right, then you'll be saying that try to make sure that very productive guy actually get a lot of bonus, right? And for the job that is actually not very important, and they underhire, right? So that is what's happening. Okay. So here I have the adverse selection where the problem is hidden information, right? And you can imagine another scenario that is we call moral hazard, but I don't want to go to the math detail because the intuition is the same thing. Okay? But I tell you the story here. The story is very simple, but I guess you don't like the math, so let me skip the math. I tell you the story here. The story is, again, it's very simple. This is old slide. So the idea is a manager, hire a worker, okay? And the worker can be working or not working, right? And even if he works, right, he may not produce good outcome, right? More likely to produce outcome, right? If he's being lazy, he's just less likely, okay? And I cannot observe how hard he works. I only observe how much profit he produces or how much output he produces, right? So how can I make sure that he works? Right, but suppose to hire a guy, right? I cannot monitor him all the day whether he actually work or playing computer games in the office, right? How can you make sure that he works, right? Right, look at property agency, right? He can go meet the client and sell the property, or he can just go to Starbucks and drink coffee. Who knows? He's outside, right? And what in this world is you will just condition the payment based on what he produced, right? It's actually what you do, right? It's commission, right? He produced this, he produced this much house, he get a cut of that, right? And the question is, how do you design a contract in this way? Okay, and how can you make sure that he would work, right? And you can imagine the simplest is if he have production, he produce something, he sell one flat, you pay him 1 million, he sell 2 flat, you pay 2 million piece rate, right? Or can be nonlinear, right? But anyway, you want to link his compensation to his output, right? That's what you see. And in this model, the crucial part is depend on the risk preference. Okay? And if the result will be very simple, if the agent is risk neutral, that's very simple. Okay? It's just I sold the business to him and take all the risk, and that's the optimal contract. Okay? Let me repeat. If the agent is actually risk neutral, I just say, I give you this much, you do the business, I take fixed money for you. Okay? That is the usual, the standard thing easy to do, right? I sell the business to him and done, okay? So that is actually what you see to a startup company, right? Go to the Silicon Valley, right? And I don't want it, you take it, whatever. I sell it to you, I'm done, right? I want to do something, but okay, whatever I give you, you take it away. I mean, I sold the company to you. I don't really want it anymore. But in general, the agent, usually a worker, is not risk neutral. Rather, it's risk averse, right? So how you should set up your contract, right, will be, as I said, you'll be payment according to performance, right? The higher you pay more, less you pay little, right? And that will, that is all the math here, okay? As you see, we don't want to go to very deep of the math, okay? At the end, I want to go to this example, okay, which is called the credit rationing, okay? Because I noticed the math is too complicated, so that's why I just go to the conclusion. So in this model, if you want, I can cover it. I can cover more next class, but I want to give you the idea at the end, okay? So in this model is also the problem of bank and entrepreneur, okay? The bank can lend the money to entrepreneur, and entrepreneur can do the business or just drink coffee, right? Don't do the business, okay? And of course, the more effort he put in, and then he more likely to do the job, right? And of course, so how can the bank make sure the entrepreneur will work more, right? How can they do that? Okay. Of course, at the end of the day, okay, he will not fund all the investment, okay? Even though his investment is although all the investment, if confirmation will be funded, okay, some project will be cut, okay? Only the project is profitable enough, they will keep it, okay? So that would be the main idea, because it is similar to the idea of the lemon market, okay? Not everything will be trade. Some bad project will not be trade, okay? And in this model, it means that only if the things become sufficiently profitable, they will be there. So you look at notation here is, okay, let me go to notation a little bit, okay? So in the model, either the agent take an action, do the job or not do the job, okay? If he do the job, then pi of E will have good outcome, 1 minus pi of low outcome, okay? And the payoff will be, depends on the return minus the investment, right? Because the bank will also get this money if the return if the investment successful, right? Otherwise, you get this one, okay? And there's a bunch of math, but at the end, we tell you that only if this is profitable enough, this is expected value of the investment. Only if the investment, if profitable enough, it will be funded, okay? Of course, although if I know perfect information, more project will be funded, okay? But now, because of incomplete information, only this will be funded, okay? So basically same as the lemons market, right? So part of the market will be gone, and that's the reason why we have the government to support the SME, right? And also why we have bank, the formal bank, only the big company can borrow from the bank. And these have to go to, say, the P2P market or other loan shark or other thing because they don't want to borrow. Okay? But I don't want to go to detail because I saw no one is happy with the math. So I just, because the same idea here, okay, is saying that only under adverse selection or moral hazard, only good things are done, bad things are gone. Okay, same as the lemon market, right? So only good car are traded, there's some lemon, but all the rest is gone. So everything is there. Even though you allow things being optimally designed, things start to solve out, we didn't solve all the problem there. Okay, but in the next week, we'll talk about how adverse selection directly apply to stock market. Why adverse selection explain the bid-ask spread, which we will talk about next class. Okay, I see you. Sorry for overrun, but I will see you next Friday. I'll stay around to answer any question you may have.